everybody. I'm going to do a video here on something that I've always wanted to do and have never sat down to take the time to list it out to talk about it. It is the lap band don'ts. And usually we come from an approach on the lap band do's and what it takes to be successful with a lap band, the rules of lap band, and those are things like eat your protein first, get in all your water every day, get in your 60 to 70 grams of protein a day, take your vitamins, all those things that if you've been watching videos for any time, you've seen the lap band rules. Well, I wanted to talk about the don'ts. And I'm going to go real quick through the list, and then I'm going to go through the list a little slower and go over each one a little bit more in detail. But the don'ts or the no's, are no caffeine, no carbonation, no aspirin or Advil, no alcohol, no mints or gum, no artificial sweetened sugar Kool-Aid type drinks, and no drinking from a straw. And those are from my surgeon's office for their recommendations and from my handy dandy book here that I got before I was banded. And every meeting that I go to, usually they review a lot of these. So I'm going to go through them each one by one. And the first thing I mentioned was no caffeine. And I think that's one that most everybody's heard of. Caffeine not only stimulates the brain, but it also stimulates the gut. It increases the appetite and acts as a diuretic. It may also increase the risk of ulcers. Caffeine can be found in many items: coffee, tea, energy drinks, many sodas, chocolate, protein drinks, and some sports drinks. You should avoid caffeine, but you're allowed to drink a maximum of 2 cups of caffeine-free or decaffeinated coffee or tea daily. Do I always follow that rule? Not necessarily do I always follow that. But I've seen a few videos of people that have had some significant complications from drinking caffeine. So I don't drink a large amount of caffeine. Of course I don't drink Pepsi or anything like that anymore, but I do like iced tea. So I do try and be a little cautious with that, but I have iced tea now and then, and it's hard to pull into a McDonald's and get decaf tea. Carbonation. Carbonation causes a lot of extra air in your pouch, which is uncomfortable, and it causes a lot of burping. If you continue to drink carbonation, it can stretch your pouch over time and cause weight gain. And let's see. The aspirin and Advil can be extremely dangerous. Advil is hard on your stomach even if you haven't had weight loss surgery, but particularly after you've had weight loss surgery and you've got such a small pouch. And I was an Advil junkie, and during my period I would take at least 4 Advil twice a day just for cramps, and then also because I had if you've seen my last couple videos, I recently had a procedure done because of excessive bleeding, and Advil, if you take 4 at a time, my gynecologist always recommended that several times a day to help slow down the bleeding. And I can't do that anymore now that I've been banded. In fact, that's one rule that I've stuck to. I've not taken any Advil at all since I got my band. Because I know it will just eat through the lining of the stomach. Let's see, what else? Alcohol, of course, obvious reasons. Alcohol has a lot of sugar in it, or most alcohol does. Some of it's carbonated, so that falls into the no carbonation list. Also, there's the danger that you could end up vomiting if you drink too much, and that's hard for your band. And then something else I worried about was with the reflux, and when I fall asleep, I would wake myself up with acid reflux, and if I had drank too much, I may sleep too sound, and then I would have problems, if I had the acid reflux and didn't wake up and be able to clear my airway like I've been able to do. So alcohol is on the no list. In fact, it says ulcers can occur, and that would include perforation of the stomach if NSAIDs, caffeine, carbonation, tobacco, or alcohol are used in any amount even years after surgery. So it also throws tobacco in. Smoking is another thing, because you end up taking in air not only into your lungs but into your stomach, and then I would assume that there's something that maybe the nicotine, or I don't know exactly what, plays a role that can lead to ulcers and perforation of the stomach. So those are in bold in this book, and every support group meeting I've been to, those are the 5 things that they, really pound into our head not to do. And then it also goes into, let's see. Well, while we're on the medication, this isn't just for weight loss surgery patients, but it points out that extended release medications, or those which are enteric coated, should never be crushed, because a lot of times we have to break our pills in half to be able to take them, to make them smaller. But some pills should never be crushed or broken in two. And typically those are anything that ends with the letters CC, not the name of the drug, but like, I don't know, at the end of some medications they have the letters like XR, that means extended release. So if after the name of your medication it's followed by 2 letters that are CC, CR, ER, XL, SR, and XR, those are time-released or long-acting drugs and must not be crushed or cut. Okay, let's go on to do not chew gum or use candy-type hard mints. When chewing gum, patients tend to swallow a lot of air. If the gum is accidentally swallowed, it could cause a blockage, and the same with the mints. I chew gum sometimes, and I also chew mints because, sometimes if you're going into a meeting or something like that, if you've had onions or for whatever reason, you may want a breath mint. And in here it recommends that if you need a breath freshener, brush your teeth more frequently, or try the Listerine type strips or icebreaker balls that melt on your tongue, or use breath spray or rinse with mouthwash, but don't take mints. Now these are just their recommendations and what they want us to do, not necessarily the things I always follow. And then one last thing that is a little bit different and odd, but I've thought a lot about it and I sort of agree that it could be bad, so I try and limit this. This has to do with artificial sweetened beverages, particularly like Crystal Light or the Kool-Aids like that. Let me read you what it says. Beverages that are artificially sweetened contain little or no calories are not recommended. If a beverage tastes sweet, even if it has little or no calories, we urge you to avoid it. This includes beverages such as Crystal Light, sugar-free Kool-Aid, Propel, diet soda, etc. There are several reasons why artificially sweetened beverages are not allowed. 1. Studies show that hunger levels are increased after consumptions of diet beverages. 2. The sweet taste in the mouth may trigger food cravings, and the cravings will most likely be for carbohydrates and not the good lean proteins you should be eating. And 3, this is the one that I think the most about, some beverages, such as the sugar-free fruit drink type things that you mix, from a powder, can be acidic and cause irritation to the stomach. And if you notice in a pitcher, if you ever use a clear pitcher or any kind of one that you can sort of see through, when I make the Crystal Light or that type of a Kool-Aid and it sits in the refrigerator for several days or a week, as you dump it out, make more, whatever, there's always a white residue that ends up in the bottom of my pitcher, and it's very hard to get out. And I always think, is that, when I drink that, is that accumulating in my stomach, or what exactly is that? So that is something that just came out. It looks like, and it was retrieved from September 24th, 2008 from www.sciencedaily.com, releases 2008. And then it was also WebMD Health News, June 30th, 2004. Artificial sweeteners may damage diet efforts. So take that for what it's worth. And then the last thing is drinking out of a straw. I'm not allowed to drink out of a straw according to my surgeon, but I do. And when I called and told them about my reflux problem, the first thing she says, have you been drinking out of a straw? And I said, yeah, I have. I've been drinking caffeine out of a straw. Iced tea, a large from McDonald's every day. So I broke that habit. But anyway, those are the lap band don'ts, and I just wanted to share those because I've never seen anybody condense them into one video before. So take them for what they're worth, and for what they're worth, they're from one surgeon's office anyway, and they are what I try and follow, although I am not perfect. So anyway, I will see you later. Have a good week.